guys, this is Caira Lorenzo
and Monica Metryoos. Today we are going to be talking about syntax, specifically in toddlers. Let's get into it together. This is Monica. During this presentation we will review the following. Together we will understand what is syntax, then go over examples of syntax. Together we will focus on syntax regarding toddlers, and the 5 stages of syntax. Also we will compare and contrast a peer-reviewed article over what we covered together. And we will look into Owen's view of syntax in reference to his book, Language Development and Introduction.
This is Caira, and on number 1, we're going to go over what is syntax. The word syntax derives from the Greek word syntaxis, which means arrangement. Now, the textbook definition of syntax is a study of the rules that must be followed to create well-formed phrases, clauses, and sentences. On the side here, we have a syntax meme for your entertainment.
This is Monica. Part 2, we will go over some examples in syntax. In order to have good syntax, kids need to learn the importance of word selection and word tense. Also the arrangement of words and the selection of the punctuation, all in order to create sentences that make sense. Looking on the image on the right, you can see the sentence broken up accordingly. The correct structure, the cat sat on the mat, is stated correctly. If we would have said sat on the mat, that would be an incorrect form because there would be no subject or noun phrase to complete the uncompleted sentence.
This is Caira, and we're going to go ahead and move on to number 3, syntax in toddlers. In only a few years, children go from having no language to forming cohesive, grammatically correct sentences. This is called syntactic development. Syntactic development is a way children learn rules that they can use to make sentences, and it is measured using MLU, which stands for mean length of utterance. Now, the average length of a child's sentence increases as they get older. All the while, children automatically learn syntactic rules without real instruction by just listening to others speaking around them. Part 3A has examples of syntax in toddler development. Now let's look at them. Starting off, toddlers may use hollow phrases or a one-word speech to express what they want. So looking at the image on the left, a child may say dada as their father enters a room, instead of saying here, as children are more likely to say the most semantically informative word for their hollow phrase. For example, if the child is thirsty, they would just say juice instead of saying want. Now the image on the right shows more of a telegraphic syntax or two-word speech. For example, to say the dog is barking, the child's utterance would be doggy bark. In this manner, what they want to communicate is using the semantic relation agent plus action.
For number 4, we're going to go into this 5 stages of syntax in toddlers. Stage 1 is 4A. Babies between ages 4 months to 12 months begin to use words to communicate. They start with one-word utterances, and a few months afterwards move to 1 to 2-word combinations. These sentences mostly consist of nouns, verbs, and adjectives, and they lack important grammatical elements. For 4B, Stage 2, kids begin to learn grammatical elements in Stage 2, usually beginning 28 to 36 months. 4C, Stage 3. Stage 3 includes acquisition of irregular past tense words like fell, followed by adding s to possessives, then proper use of verbs such as are versus is. This usually occurs between 36 and 42 months. For 4D, Stage 4 is between 40 to 46 months. This includes the understanding of articles such as irregular past tense and third-person regular present tense. For 4E, Stage 5 is from 42 months on. It involves use of contractions. I am turning into I'm, and you are turning into your. It also uses third-person irregular present tense, as in she has, as well as more complicated uses of to-be verbs, such as combining with other verbs and forming contractions with them. It is said that kids have mastered all 5 stages by 52 months and should be able to form 5 to 4-word sentences around age 4.
This is Caira, and we're going to move on to number 5. We will be covering syntax as related to Owen's book, Language Development and Introduction. The exact manner where children acquire grammar is unknown. However, evidence suggests children make assumptions about words and that usually caregivers unintentionally use conversational strategies to support assumptions. When a new word is learned, the child assigns it to a syntactic category. The child then notes how the word is used by others, and they either confirm the category assignment or make appropriate changes. Now, when caregivers read to preschool children, words relate differently. Nouns and proper nouns are introduced with little explanation, and the adjectives introduced describe and contrast objects. This way, caregivers help children acquire words, their meanings, and syntactic categories. Both syntactic and semantic factors play major roles in the emergence of language form.
Now moving on to number 6. This is Monica. We're going to go over the findings from our peer review article. Per the peer review article, they experiment with young children's knowledge of syntax by testing whether 25 and 21-month-olds extend their knowledge of English word order to new verbs. There were 4 experiments where children used word order appropriately to interpret transitive sentences containing novel verbs. In the experiment, they looked longer at a scene in which the character named in the subject position was the agent rather than the patient. Seeing this made it obvious that the children found it easy to use word order in this way. In all cases, the preference for the matching video appeared as soon as the children had heard the entire test sentence once, and as they watched the events together for the first time. These findings demonstrate that although toddlers have much to learn about language, they represent language experience in terms of an abstract mental vocabulary.
This is Caira, and in conclusion, toddlers learn syntax by real-life situations and by hearing adults around them talk. They can create categories in their brain to organize syntactic rules and thus have grammatically correct sentences. Grammatical elements come into play during stage 2 and fully develop over time. Learning syntax effortlessly differentiates from place to dialect as well as each child's surroundings. Fully learning the rules and structures of syntax is later on in life, around the ages 7 and 8 years old. Thanks for going on this syntax journey with us. Bye!